Welcome back. Have you ever surprised of electricity generation? Do you know how electrical generator works? So here in Unit 1, subtopic 1.4, we are going to learn about Faraday's law, Lenz law, dynamic induction. It's really very interesting. So let's move. After watching this video, you will be able to state Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, Lenz law, concept of dynamic induction. You will also be able to give the applications of all these above stated laws and how to apply it. Oh, what is Faraday's law? Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, which is also known as Faraday's law, is the basic law of electromagnetism, which explains the working principle of motors, generators, inductors, and electrical transformers. It helps to understand key points leading to the practical generation of electricity or electromagnetic induction. This law is proposed in the year 1831 by an experimental physicist named Michael Faraday. That being said, that Faraday's law or law of electromagnetic induction are basically the result or the observations of the experiments that Faraday conducted. He performed three main experiments to discover the phenomena of electromagnetic induction. Let's understand Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction with this simple experimental setup. In this diagram, you will find an insulated coil whose terminals are connected to a sensitive galvanometer and one simple permanent magnet. Just by changing the position of this permanent magnet with respect to this insulated coil, you will find the deflection in the galvanometer. During the experiments, Faraday found that when the strength of the magnetic field is varied, then the deflection of galvanometer changes. It means, as shown in this diagram, the number of magnetic lines cutting the coil is only one. So only one magnetic line is cutting this particular coil, and that is why the deflection of galvanometer is somewhat lesser. And in the second case, when number of magnetic field lines cutting the coil is more, 5, it is 5 in number, so more amount of deflection will happen. This is first observation of Faraday. Then he found that passing a current through an iron rod would make it electromagnet. So whenever current is passed through any coil which is wound on a iron piece, then iron piece or iron rod, then it becomes an electromagnet. It was his second observation. And third is, while conducting the third experiment, he found that the galvanometer did not show any deflection or no induced EMF or no induced current was produced in this coil when there was no movement in between these two. Either you need to move this permanent magnet or you need to move the coil. If there is no movement, no rotary motion in between these two, either of electromagnet or in coil, then there will be no induced EMF in the coil or no deflection of galvanometer. That was the third observation of Faraday. So to get the deflection of galvanometer, you need to change the magnetic field. And the ways of changing this magnetic field are either by rotating the coil related to the magnet, or by moving the coil into or out of the magnetic field. Third, by changing the area of coil placed in the magnetic field, or by moving a magnet towards or away from the coil. So either of these four ways we are able to change the magnetic field which is linked with the coil. Try to understand it with the help of this animation. You will find by changing the position of this magnet by varying the or by moving the permanent magnet, this piece of magnet, you will find that galvanometer is giving you deflection. At the same time you will find the lamp is glowing. And if this particular magnet is stationary, then lamp will not glow and there will be no deflection on this particular galvanometer. After conducting these three experiments, Faraday found that position of magnet and deflection in galvanometer are related to each other. If magnet is at rest, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. If the magnet moves towards the coil, the deflection in the galvanometer is in one direction. Magnet is held stationary at the same position or near the coil, then there is no deflection in the galvanometer. If the magnet moves away from the coil, deflection in the galvanometer is there, but it is in the opposite direction. And the magnet held stationary at the same position away from the coil, then again there is no deflection in the galvanometer. So one thing is clear from all these observations, that there should be some relative motion in between magnet and coil. Either of these two should have movement. If any one of them is stationary, then there is no EMF induction or no deflection in the galvanometer. And that is what Faraday proved. So Faraday stated the law of electromagnetic induction in two different statements. In first statement, it is called first law of electromagnetic induction. It states that whenever the magnetic flux linked with the coil changes, an EMF is always induced in it. Or you can say, whenever a conductor cuts magnetic flux, an EMF is induced in that conductor. So either of these two, either magnet or conductor, should be in motion. Then and then only EMF induction takes place. If both are stationary, then there will be no EMF induction in the coil. So very essential condition for EMF induction is there should be rate of change of flux which is linking with the coil. And how it is possible to change the rate of, to create rate of change of flux? It is by changing either the position of magnet or by rotating the conductor in a magnetic field. If magnetic field is stationary, then you have to rotate the conductor. If conductor is stationary, then you have to rotate the magnetic field around it. Then and then only EMF induction takes place in a coil. And how to decide the magnitude of induced EMF? For that, Faraday has given us second law. So according to Faraday's second law, we can find out the magnitude of induced EMF. And his statement is, the magnitude of the induced EMF is always equal to the rate of change of flux linkage. It means depending upon the rate of change of flux which are linked with the coil, EMF induction changes. If you are moving the magnet very fast close to coil, then there will be more deflection. If you are moving it slow, then EMF induction is also slow. So depending upon the speed, depending upon the total amount of flux which are getting linked with the coil, decides the magnitude of induced EMF. You can formulate his statement as induced EMF E is equal to minus N d phi by dt. So d phi by dt is rate of change of flux with respect to time, and N indicates the number of turns of that coil. So phi is magnetic flux, N is number of turns. This negative sign indicates that the induced EMF set up current in such a direction that magnetic effect produced by it opposes the very cause producing it. Please try to understand. We all know that there is equal and opposite reaction to each and every action. In the same way, on the same principle, the amplitude, here you are finding the EMF induction direction is in such a way that it opposes to the cause which is producing it. Who is responsible for EMF induction? d phi by dt. So the current which is getting produced because of this induced EMF will flow in such a way that it will oppose the cause. It will oppose the rate of change of flux linked with that coil. And that is this opposition or oppose the very cause producing it is stated by Lenz. He was also one scientist and he has given the relation in between these two. So applications of Faraday's law. Very important application of Faraday's law is in electrical generators. Electrical generator works on the basis of Faraday's law. Second, electrical equipments like transformer, induction cooker, it also works on the basis of mutual induction, which is the principle of Faraday's law. By inducing an electromotive force into an electromagnetic flow meter, the velocity of fluid is recorded. So it is also one application of Faraday's law. These are the major applications of Faraday's law. As I stated, while discussing the formula of EMF induction as per Faraday's law, there is a negative sign in that formula. So why this is? This law, this Lenz states that in effect that electromagnetically induced current always flows in such a direction that the action of the magnetic field set up by it tends to oppose the very cause producing it, and that is why the direction of current which is flowing due to induced EMF is always opposite to the cause. Cause is, what is cause? Who is responsible for EMF induction? Rate of change of flux. So the magnitude of induced EMF or current is in such a way that it will oppose rate of change of flux linked with that coil. So as we discussed in Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, that there should be relative motion in between conductor and magnetic field, then and then only EMF induction takes place. So here we are continuing with the same principle, that we are having stationary magnetic field and one conductor which is rotating in this magnetic field. So dynamically induced EMF means an EMF induced in a conductor when the conductor moves across a magnetic field. As shown in this figure, a conductor A with length L is moving across a magnetic field having flux density B, the flux and velocity V. When this conductor is rotating with velocity V, then the dynamically induced EMF in the conductor is given by EMF is equal to B into L into V. That is product of magnetic flux density, length of conductor and velocity with which conductor is rotating. So one thing is clear, to induce an EMF, it is essential that there should be relative motion in between conductor and magnet. If either conductor or magnetic field is rotating, then there is a EMF induction, and if either conductor or magnet both are stationary or both are rotating with the same speed, that means relative motion in between conductor and magnet is zero, then there will be no EMF induction in the coil.